Alright, 14.6 is about inventory. So the inventory of a business is the items that it has in stock. Records of the items on hand, also known as in-stock items, may be kept either on a computer or inventory cards. So when you ask people about things, they're going to be like, well, what's in stock? What do they have in the back, basically, or on the shelves? To determine the inventory, you start with the previous inventory. The number of incoming items, called receipts, is called previous inventory. So if you have your previous inventory from last week and you know you got 10 more of the same items on the next day, then you would just add that. And then the number of outgoing items, called issues, is subtracted from the previous inventory. This is frequently done on a computer using Universal Pricing Code or UPC labels. So normally your computer will keep track of every single time you sell an item, how many of those items that you sold. So the computer at the end of the day, it'll give you a diagnostic and be like, well, you sold this many of this many of that, this many of that. So then you can subtract that from your inventory when it's time to do inventory, and you can figure out how many items you're short of. So the inventory record also indicates the stock reorder print. So this is the stock reorder point. This is the minimum level of inventory needed to meet customer demand. When the inventory falls below the stock reorder point, a new order must be placed. So if you're supposed to have 60 items, at the very least, at the end of the week, of a certain item, but when you do inventory, it's down to 45, then that's below your stock reorder point. So then that means you have to order more, or else you're going to run short and you're not going to meet customer demands. I saw this happen a lot because in the bar, as a bartender, the managers did inventory on Sundays, so they would take stock of how much beer we had, how much liquor we had, anything, margarita mix, anything. So they would figure out how much more tequila they needed to order, how much more of alcohol, any kind of alcohol thing that they needed more of, because you did not want to run out of, Coors Light, which is Coors Light and Bud Light were really popular beers. You don't want to run out of those in the middle of the week when your inventory doesn't, your next stock doesn't come until the week after. So you have to make sure you don't fall below a certain point, and once you fall below, you make sure you order it so you'll have enough. Even if it's just by one below, you still need to order it. Alright, it's nice to know about how many you sell in a week so you can know how many more to order, because you should order a certain amount to be above that level for the next week. So to find your inventory, you're going to take that previous inventory, so whatever the inventory was from the week before. You're going to add all receipts, which are all new items, but you're going to subtract all issues. Remember, your issues are all that's been sold. So the inventory record for wholesale paint supply shows that the 80 rolls of masking tape, stock number WL9, were in inventory on February 1st. Each week the inventory record is updated. How many rolls were on hand March 1st? When did the inventory fall below the reorder point? So this is all about masking tape. So it's a stock number WL9. So instead of seeing masking tape, you might see it as WL9. So that's what you got to order of. These are the weeks. This opening balance, that's how many you had at the beginning of the week. So at the beginning of this week, they had 80. The unit balance receipts is how many they got in. So they got 40 in, but then they sold 62. So at the end of the week, they ended up with 58. And that 58 comes from adding, we'll get to that in a second. And then inventory at the end of the week was 58. So then the beginning of the next week, you start with 58. But they didn't get any more in, but they sold 25 more, so they got with 33. They took that 33, and that's what they started for the next week. They got 80 more in, so they add 80. Then you have to subtract the 28, because they sold 28 more, so that left them with 85. Then they brought that 85 back to the week of 85 over here on February 22nd. They got 40 more in. Then they subtracted 37 because they sold 37 more. So then they had 88 at the end of that week. And so the week of March 1st, they're going to have 88. And if you notice, their reorder point is 80. So anytime your count falls below 80, they need a reorder. So find the last day, the discount, that's not even what that's supposed to say. Alright, so you're going to take your opening balance, add your units receipts, subtract all issues, and that is going to be your number on hand. This will come in handy for the homework because it's called number on hand, or inventory at the end of the week. Now if you notice, this is already marked to be like that. So to find you're going to take the opening balance, add the units receipts, subtract income, and get that. So they took 80, added 40, subtracted 62, got 58. Brought the 58 over, they added 0, subtracted 25, they got 33. 33, add 80, subtract 28, you get 85. 85, add 40, subtract 37, you get 88. Also notice that it was asking you for the reorder point. When did the inventory fall below? They asked you how many rolls were on point March 1st. March 1st had, there were 88 rolls. Now the reorder point was 80, and twice did it fall below 80. So it said, also asked you when did the inventory fall below reorder point. So the fall below was the end of the week, February 8th, end of week February 1st and February 8th. Because at the end of the week of the first week we're 58, 58 is below 80. The end of February 8th they were below 33, but if you notice on the end of February, the week of February 15th, that's when their new stock, they ordered more and they got more on that week and they had enough on hand. And so then they're like, well, 85 is pretty close to being 80, let's go ahead and order a couple more, and they got 40 more and they had 88. Or they could have ordered those both at this week because sometimes it takes 2 weeks for things to come in.